Hi guys, I'm Mike Edgar and I'm here today with Barry Lynch, co-founder of the Lure Box, and we're at beautiful Pitsford Water. It's autumn time now, it's getting a little bit cold, so we thought we'd come out, try some of the perch. Perch are going to be slow, so we're thinking drop shot tactics, maybe a little bit of Neko rig, maybe a little bit of casting later on. But initially we'll just talk about the drop shot and what we're going to do today. We catch a lot of fish, a lot of big fish out of these reservoirs, so I think we talk with pretty good authority of the best methods, best lures and best tactics on these kind of big waters. We're not talking canal fishing here, we're not talking little dilly lures, wasping, we're talking methods for catching big perch. So if it's big perch you're after, stay tuned, follow our advice, and I'm sure you'll manage to get amongst them. Let's start with rods. Yeah, that's pretty basic starting point. So talk us through your rod.
Well, this is the Westin W4. It's not actually traditionally a drop shot rod.
Yep.
But
is it the W4? Is it a light stick?
It's a light stick, yeah. Yep. It's a new one they brought out, 3 to 10 grams.
Yep.
Although it's pretty fast action, so you can go a bit over that. I mean, I've cast up to like 20 grams. You know,
yeah.
I'm not loading it fully, but yeah, I've just got a 10 gram drop shot weight on this one. I tend to stick with the firmer rod in the reservoirs when you're fishing a bit deeper. I like to just feel the action, and when you're fishing at like 30 foot, you tend to lose it with a soft tip.
Yeah.
So I could probably go heavier than that. I've got a 10 gram on because it's only about 12-13 foot where we're starting out.
Yep.
But if I go to 30 feet, I'll step up to 14-20 grams.
Yep. But you need to go with the drop shot. You want to go fairly light. I don't agree with the whole as light as possible. You need to be in contact with the bottom at all times, but you don't want the drop shot lead absolutely pinned to the bottom. You want to be able to just gently nudge it back without creating too much disturbance to the bottom.
Yeah.
So looking past your rod, we look onto the braid that we've got there. What braid are you using and why that particular braid? I
tend to use the YGK. They do a super fine braid. For its breaking strength, this is a 16 pound, I think 0.8
yep.
PE. It's unbelievably thin, so it cuts through the water really nicely. So you don't get that drag. When you're drifting, it's often quite windy on these bigger reservoirs. So you tend to want to eliminate the drag.
Yep.
So yeah, it's great for that.
With the YGK, I use it for all of my reservoir fishing, be that vertical fishing, casting shads, drop shotting, casting bigger lures and 25 pound breaking strain. It is just the perfect braid for deep water or big water fishing where there's not a lot of snags. Yeah,
it's, as you mentioned, snags. It's not particularly abrasion resistant, which is, I think, well documented. It is a very, very fine braid.
Yeah.
So something has to give. So these reservoirs tend to be pretty snag free, but I always use a fluorocarbon leader anyway. So at the sort of business end, so to speak, you've got your fluorocarbon, which is very abrasion resistant. So if you do get taken through a rock or any stumps or any debris, then it tends to.
It's the leader getting the batter in rather than the braid.
Yeah.
So onto your leader here. I see you've got about a 6 foot leader. What material is this? Why that length? And the distance between the lure and the drop shot.
That's again the YGK. I've gone with the 12 pound. Guys will use sort of down to 4 pound, 3 pound. I see them using. It's fine for canals, maybe little river fishing, but I don't think it's necessary in a deep reservoir. The water's pretty coloured. You're fishing a bit deeper. I don't think that visibility is a big issue. So 12 pound, I step it up a bit because you do get some big fish. So I'd rather not lose them and leave them with hooks in their mouth. So 12 pound, I think, is perfect.
Cool. Hook there. I see that's the VMC. Is that the Spark Point you're using? Yeah. Amazing hooks.
Number 4.
Number 4. Super sharp. They've got this sort of like barbarian cone cut shape. Once you hook a fish, you don't lose them. They're on and they stay on.
Yeah.
Very, very rarely do you lose a fish on these. We'll show you some close-ups with these guys in a moment. So getting to the most exciting part is the lures. If you had to pick 3 lures, top 3 lures, what would they be?
Well, I mean, this one, again, sort of paddle tails. You know,
Yep.
I tend to favour the paddle tails. A lot of guys, traditionally a drop shot lure has either got a pin tail or a fork tail.
Yep.
But I tend to do a lot of casting with it, so I'm not just fishing vertically.
Yep.
I'll mix it up a bit, but the paddle tail gives you the option. You know, you can just sort of lightly twitch it. You can leave it still. You can drag it along. You can crank it. You know, I just like having the option to fish it quite fast if I need to.
Mix it up.
I'm a pretty fast fisherman. I can't do this slow. I mean, I've got a few. So that's pretty standard paddle tail there. That's the shad Teeze 7 centimeter.
Yeah, 7.5s. Yep.
Then I've got the if I do want something a bit slower, I've got the Keitech custom Leech there.
Awesome lure. I'd say that the Keitech custom Leech certainly features in my top 3. Amazing lures. Not a lot of guys in the UK are using them, and they're certainly missing out on a trick. These phenomenal perch catching lures.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I know that the waspingers tend to become pretty popular, and guys go down to like 1 inch, 1.5 inch lures. But these are a 3 inch. But you tend to find, because of the design, they'll fold really nicely, so you can catch. If there's a little perch about, you'll catch them. But I like to be able to give myself the option of catching the bigger ones, really.
Yeah.
So I'm going a 3 inch lure. I don't tend to go much smaller. I'll use a 2 inch occasionally. That's the Easy Shiner.
Yep. Have a nice lure.
Keitech Easy Shiner. And then I've got sort of the 3 inch Keitech Swing Impact, which is pretty much my go-to lure for drop shot, for light jigging. You know, they go from 2 inch right up to 7.8 inch now, which is you know, for pike obviously. I'm
going to let you guys into a top secret here. If any of you guys have purchased Keitech lures, you will notice that the scent is a critical part of the lure. Everyone is amazed by the scent of these lures. We found out a couple of years ago the secret scent of these lures is actually Mega Strike, but don't tell anyone, keep that between us.
Top secret, obviously.
Top secret. A little cool lure that I'm super excited about that the guys at Westin have just released is these tiny little Mega Teezes. 3.5 centimetre. It's normally a bit small for the kind of drop shotting I like to do, but lots of guys are bagging up on these on the canals. Super lure. They come in, I think, 7 different colours.
Yeah.
That is going to be the next big thing
now
in drop shotting in the UK. I think that's pretty much it about talking about lures and tackle, and I think we should look at a little bit in the technique side of things for how we fish a drop shot fast, how we fish a drop shot slow, how we fish a drop shot pretty much static, and yeah, hopefully we might be able to get a fish or two today. So let's give it a try. So guys, we're going to talk a little bit about technique here. We're in 9.5 foot of water. We've got weed beds. We're pretty much up against the side of a weed bed. So show us on exactly what you would do when we're normally fishing.
Yeah, well, so as I say, I tend to cast quite a lot with the drop shot. So you don't want to lob it out too far. Just give it a nice, get it 30-40 feet out there. Keep your line tight as it sinks. You get a lot of bites on the drop. Which is why again you stick with a sort of lighter weight.
Yep.
In
They can just
9,
suck
10,
it in.
11 foot of water, you don't need that heavy weight. It goes down really quick.
Yep.
So the light weight sort of tends to have a slower drop, and you'll often find them taking it on the drop. Tighten your line, sort of give it a couple of twitches. They'll often follow it down and they'll watch it. So I tend to sort of leave it on that spot for a bit. Let your line slack so the lure will fall to the bottom. Pick it up again. Couple of twitches. You pretty much know if there's a fish there fairly quickly. If not, give it a couple of cranks of the handle, move it up a bit, and then I just mix it up. I tend to fish very quickly with the drop shot. Not your traditional.
You see lots of guys fishing absolutely static, where they've got the lure sitting in the same place and they're just wiggling it around. On these big reservoirs, there's not that kind of structure. You can't do that. It's just you've got to go to the fish. The fish aren't going to come to you. There's not great big brush piles. There's the odd bit of structure, but generally it's a moving.
If you find a shoal, if you're on the fish and you find them and they want it slow, then you can do it. But when you're searching for fish, maybe in the canals, when you've got visible structure, you can cast to, you can leave it there, twitch it if you know there's fish around. But
drop shot is certainly a better method once you've found the fish. If you're searching for fish, I would choose a jig all day long over a drop shot. It's a much quicker method of finding the fish, but once you're on the shoal, drop shot will generally pick out more fish and a better stamp of fish. One thing I noticed you do exactly the same as me is your finger is on the blank. that is so critical to feeding these little finicky bites. Keep your finger on the blank, and any bite will just transmit all the way through the blank, and you'll feel it on your finger before you feel it through the bend and the hit in the rod. So very, very critical to keep your finger on the blank at all times.
It also gives you sort of more control.
Yeah,
when you
balances the rod.
I'm using my finger to sort of move the rod. You know, you see people holding it back. Yeah, I tend to hold it quite far forward and hold it loosely. You know, you can sort of twitch the rod tip. And obviously, as you say, you know, you feel those bites through the blank. I think I had a little tap there actually.
So it's just about totally mixing it up. Keep trying new things. There's no hard and fast rules with drop shot. Cast it out, switch it back in, leave it static, retrieve it faster. You just keep mixing it up until you find what the fish want on the day.
You know, the thing is with the drop shot, because you've got that distance between the weight and the lure, it just gives you the opportunity to keep suspended off the bottom. You can crank it. You know, I tend to, like, if I see fish feeding on the surface, I've got a drop shot. I'll put a smaller weight on, and I'll crank it on the surface. It gives the lure a lot of action because it's just hooked through the lip. You know, there's no reason why you need to stick to that traditional thinking that it needs to be vertical and static. I mean, you can do anything with a drop shot. It's so versatile. It's ridiculous. And I also like the ability, because you got, like, I normally use like a size 4 hook, because it's not going into the lure. You're just lip hooking it. You can chop and change lures so quickly. You can go from a 6-inch to a 2-inch. You know, just chop and change as you feel fit. You know, which is obviously, if you've got a jig head, you're using a 3.0, which is suitable for like a 3 to 4 inch. Then if you want to change, you generally have to change your jig head. Whereas like with this, you can just have, I always just have a selection of lures down there, and I'll just chop and change them really quick.
I mean, drop shot is an odd method. Generally, it is a perch catching method. Apart from today, so far we've had a couple of brown trout. We've had a couple of brown trout each. Barry's had a pike. I've lost a couple of perch, and Barry's lost his pliers, which is also quite cool. So I think that
8-year-old pliers.
Yeah, 8-year-old pliers. So I think that's pretty much going to wrap up the technique. Have you got anything else to add to that?
No, I mean, you know, just keep mixing it up. You know, that's my thing. Everyone says to me, why do you fish drop shot? I mean, just mix it up, fish it fast, fish it slow. If it's not working, you know, switch to a jig. But I mean, I tend to find I might disagree slightly on the searching bit, because you know you can search with it as well. Obviously, you know, with a jig you do tend to fish a bit quicker, but there's no reason why you can't also use it to search. You know, casting and retrieving. But yeah, traditionally, as you say, once you found the fish, it's lethal. I've not found it. I don't know another method like it that gives you the versatility to, you know, in so many different scenarios. You know, you can shallow, deep canals. You know, you can change your weights so quickly. You know, it's just so easy to mix it up and go from 10 foot to 30 foot, and you just put a bit of extra weight, bigger lure maybe if you want. You know.
Don't be afraid as well. Lots of guys I see casting like 2, 3, 4 inch maximum lures. I mean, a lot of the time I fish a 4 inch, maybe even a 6-inch lure without a problem. If you had a stinger to the back, no problem at all. These perch in here, they've got huge mouths. They'll take a 4 or 6-inch lure all day long. So yeah, just keep mixing it up, and you will eventually get amongst the fish. I think that pretty much wraps it up for. I don't know. I think that. Right. I think that pretty much wraps it up for the lures that we've been using, the techniques we're going to be using, or we've been using. So I think it's time to go out now and actually see if we can put it into practice, and hopefully
go get some perch.
Let's go catch some perch.